So, you know.
Yeah. I was looking at that on the agenda today. I may sleep in the office tonight, just so you know. My house currently is 29 degrees. I might just sleep right here.
So we, you know, open the windows in the night, and all this, and then close the windows and the curtains in the day. I'm working mostly, but this one, it's just heating up like the outside of the house, and it's going through like an oven. Yeah.
It's terrible.
I am going to have questions on 8.3. I just don't really understand what it is. Before I look like a fool. That's the
oh, the community building fund.
Yeah.
Yes. We at 7? I'm not quite at 7 yet. No, like 30 seconds.
So what is that?
The community, that's our gas tax that we received from the government. It's our grant.
The rebranding it, basically.
Oh, the rebranding of gas tax. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna call to order. Camera on. Yeah. I call to order the regular council meeting of Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. I'd like to take a moment to do our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 8 First Nations territory, the long-standing presence of the elders, ancestors of Treaty 8. Through this acknowledgement, we extend recognition and respect to the BC Treaty 8 First Nations and their lands, as well as the chosen home and the Métis. I would just like to, can I put the motion on the floor currently to fix that last little bit on the land acknowledgement, Ms. Stokes? Yeah. I left out in the original one that final little land, the chosen home of the Métis. I would definitely like to add that in just because Pouskoupi is the closest to our closest Métis settlement, which is Kelly Lake. And so I'd like to put the motion on the floor just to amend that. I'm going forward to include that. Yes. Councillor Rowell?
So,
Seconder? Oh,
I'll second it to put it on the floor.
Yeah. Councillor Rowell?
So, sorry, would that amend it for this council meeting or the future council meeting?
That would amend it for the future council meetings.
If you feel that's best.
Yeah, or else I'm just verbating it every time. Well, because I would hate to not include it. That's my biggest concern. Councillor Wall?
Could we maybe say, include the chosen home of the Métis people and all those who call the Peace Country home?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Sure. If you'd like to make it a bit longer, that's fine.
Yeah, just because there's lots of, especially new immigrants and things like that, like doctors that are coming here, so helpful.
So,
somebody please tell me what it's going to say.
yes. Can you repeat what you just said?
The chosen home of the Métis or maybe Métis and all others who choose to call it Peace Country home or something like that.
Or who call the Peace Country home.
You got all that, Ms. Stokes?
No.
No. Hang on. Can you? Are you adding this or?
The chosen home of the Métis.
But let me just read the land acknowledgement here. I'll make it sound good.
Well, it's the last sentence.
Yeah. BC Treaty 8 First Nations lands. And then go after the period, the Métis and all those who choose to call it Peace Country home.
You guys are written down?
Great.
Write it down if you can.
Yeah.
Okay. The Métis.
Yeah.
What did you say? The Métis.
And all those
All those.
who call it Peace Country home.
Councillor Rattle?
And it's more of a guideline because the person might want to, make it more personalized, and then also considering the Beaver and other folks as well.
Yes, well, you're right. It does
Expand
incorporate
out.
everybody.
And there's a lot of First Nations up here that aren't originally from here that may not be Métis either. Like the three.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor?
Sure.
And that's carried. Thank you, Ms. Stokes, for your patience on that one. Councillor Wall?
Was that with the amendment or that?
That was with.
Okay.
No worries. Sorry, I should have cleared up. That was with the amendment of Councillor Wall. Thank you very much. So we move to item number 3, adoption of agenda. 3.1, the council adopts the agenda as presented. Can I get a seconder?
Second.
Councillor Rabble, thank you. Any discussion regarding items on today's agenda? None? All those in favor? Carried. All right, adoption of minutes. So 4.1, the council adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 19th. I would like to recognize that I see that both Councillor Rabble and Councillor Wall were not here. And so due to your absence, I'd like to put the motion on the floor that we table these minutes for next meeting. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Thank you. Any discussion on tabling? All those in favor? Carries. Thank you very much. 4.2, the council adopts the minutes from the special council meeting held on June 24th, 2024. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Wall, thank you very much. Any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor? That is carried. 4.3, the council adopts the minutes from the special council meeting held on July 4th, 2024. Seconded by Councillor Wall, thank you very much. Discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Very much. Item number 5, introduction of late items. There is none. Item number 6, delegations. 6.1, the council hears a delegation from the South Pace Health Society. Chris Norbury, right? Am I pronouncing that right? Right, there we go. Wonderful. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Wall, thank you. All right. Well, the floor is yours. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mayor Beach Council.
Yeah.
I'll use this fancy podium.
The fancy podium.
Since it was brought on for me, I better use it. So thank you again. Thank you for having me. I wanted to come in and just give you all some face time to introduce who we are. I know that we have Councillor Ravel as our liaison, but I think it's important to come on and meet people and share with you where we're at, where we are wanting to be, and share a little bit of our path. So, next slide. I just gave you a quick next slide. So I'm going to try not to read from the slides because I hate it when presenters do that, but I will a little bit. I wanted to share with you like my vision as our president. So what I'd like to do is I want to build a stable foundation as a society. You know, the focus has been on getting the Voltries House built open for business. And while doing that, I believe that we've missed some key points. You know, we need to get our financial documentation up to date, which we're almost there. We have our 2023 financials up to date, currently worked on with KPMG.
Well, something's happening.
Should we pause?
We've got a printed version.
Oh, there. Okay, sorry. I won't touch it again.
We just finished our strategic plan and a business plan as well. And I think our next focus is going to be working on some governance documents such as policies, procedures, continue to update our website, and having safe storage of that. Next slide, please. So as I said, the Voltries House has been our main focus for our society since inception. The regional district, Peace River Regional District, has been vital in our success. I think it's almost as much as their project as ours, and we're just stewards of that project. So recently, we have successfully obtained another year of operations budget from Ministry of Health. And we operate the Voltries House with the agreement with the Dock Security Society. So they offer 24-hour supervision, support of the house, and they handle all the bookings. Next slide. I want to give you some quick stats. You know, so when we first opening, we've had 100 guests stay at the Voltries House. We stay for about 250 nights. Until currently, I would say we're at about 30% occupancy. Moving forward, we definitely want to start raising the awareness of the Voltries House. One of the biggest things that we are hearing from people is that, well, I was in town, I didn't know. And so one of the things moving forward is, and it's in our strategic plan, is I believe one of the biggest focuses we need to be moving on once we can get our good governance and foundation in place is off the project plan. And I believe we have a good source of funding there with the Mackenzie Trust. I don't want to promise anything that we can't follow through on, but I just want to share with you what we're working on. And some of the biggest reasons why people are staying at the Voltries House is maternity. We're seeing people from Fort Nelson to come down and stay last week. Oncology, surgery, other things. Next slide, please. So we operate 2 other properties in the city of Dawson Creek. One is a local house, so we lease a property from the city of Dawson Creek, which we run with a partnership with the South Peace Division of Family Practice to allow locals visiting Dawson Creek. Now, what we're responsible for the cleaning, the maintenance, and the groundskeeping. And then we work together with the South Peace Division of Family Practice to make sure things are there. We also have the Carriage House, which is another property on the same property. Sorry, it's a building on the same property as the Poultry House, which we lease out to Northern Health. So we get a little bit of funding, which helps out. Next slide, please. Recruitment retention initiatives. So since the Vultures House is finished, we really want to start diving into the big challenge that the region of Providence is facing retention initiatives. Currently, we've been really working on trying to develop a culture of appreciation and support for our healthcare professionals. So when I say healthcare professionals, just to clarify what I mean there, it's our doctors, our nurses, our lab techs, anybody who is supporting healthcare in our region. Because one thing we've heard from doctors is having a support team that is strong, that can help them, is very important to them. So what we've done so far is we've had a nurses appreciation night. And moving forward, we're hoping to schedule another healthcare appreciation night. So it's going to be expanded from our previous one to include all healthcare professionals. Of course, because I think it's important for us officials to show them that we're on their side as well. And it's not all that. Even though we may be frustrated by our healthcare system at times, we know that they're doing that. We have some other ideas forthcoming, which our employees diligently working on. And since you're in the room, I'm not going to throw you on the bus and make promises yet, but definitely, we're definitely working on some things to start creating that culture of appreciation. The future plans, next slide. Future plans. I am going to read from the slide on this one.
What is it?
So, our strategic plan and business plan is in the final stages. We want to create some welcome packages for visiting healthcare professionals and communities. This is something that at a recruitment and retention committee I've recently been a part of, has been identified in a lot of other communities as well. People are jumping on board with getting these welcome packages. I have a pilot project that I'm trying to get going in Tumbleweed because that's my home. Realistically, it's a welcome to our community. Here's a little bit of swag. Here's what you can do. Because speaking with doctors, one of the concerns, and I'm sure it's across healthcare professionals, when they get to the community, it's hard to really connect and know them. You know what I mean? And by finding out what they will do, will help create that amalgamation from them from being a visiting professional to be a resident in which then they feel at home. As I said, we want to develop and maintain some good governance structures with policies and procedures, developing a marketing strategy to promote South Peace Society and the Poultry House to get more uses of the building. We're also looking for board members. Liaison, thank you. The sacrificial lamb, appreciate it.
That's right. We all have looked at him.
And moving forward, we want to host a yearly appreciation event for healthcare professionals to go to create that appreciation. And next slide, thanks. I just wanted to show you that we are out there diligently trying to raise support the best that we can. I'm very thankful for the regional district. Thank you very much for your support at that level. And next slide. That's all I have for you all. I want to come in, give you an update on what we're doing, and take some questions.
Yeah, Councilor Wall.
Hold on. I was first, that was quick.
You were on the jump.
So I heard you mention a recruitment and retention committee. On that committee, what strategies do you guys have to bring healthcare professionals to the Peace and because I know a lot of people are coming up here, but how do we get people to stay, in your opinion?
Well, I'll be honest. In that, we've only had 2 meetings.
Oh, okay.
But the first thing that's been identified is direct dialogue.
Healthcare professionals. Okay.
Forming, and one of the requests that we're making from the community to Northern Health. Just to share with you the composition of this committee. We have multiple members of Northern Health. We have multiple doctors. The chief of staff, Dr. Remy, is present. Myself, member from the region, and Director Hebert from the regional district. So we have knowledge from within Northern Health. We have doctors. One of the things we want to bring to Northern Health's awareness is that we really like to make sure that we're keeping track of I think first off, like with anything, you need to understand the problem, not just assume, so you can really dive into it. I know I have anecdotal discussions with healthcare professionals. Is that a one-off? Is that everyone? So, does that answer your question?
It does. I also appreciate that you've only had 2 meetings. I didn't know that. So that also helps that.
No, I think that the work that the Walter House is doing is just phenomenal, not only to the community of Dawson Creek, but the entire region. There's been a lot of diversions and closures going on, and so really, as communities are beginning to lean on each other during this difficult time, this is definitely something that is absolutely needed and is unbelievably supported within the region. I know from our meeting this afternoon, we are hearing from Northern Health that, one of the biggest problems with recruitment and retention is it is very difficult to have people wanting to move up here because there is a lot of negative attention going to Northern Health currently with the closures and social media, and that's definitely creating issues itself, very much. And so, one of that is trying to combat the negative with more of a positive approach, and I really, really like that you are doing these healthcare appreciation nights. I think that that's a really, really great way to get that positivity out there. I know also another big hill that they're trying to climb is the healthcare, because there's no 24-hour healthcare offered within the area, and so that is something that Northern Health is also dealing with. But just making these changes to bring forward that positive feeling of recognizing the hard work of our healthcare staff, who are beginning to feel worn out from the constant negativity that's going on in the media and on social media has been a challenge. I see here with this creating welcome packages for healthcare professionals. I think that's wonderful, and we would absolutely love to take part, whether it's building a pamphlet to highlight the amazing things within Pouce Coupe, or offer things to our museum here. Get them in. Same, come check out the Pouce Coupe Museum. Come check out our disc golf course down at Pouce Park. We have Codwell's Corner, of course, who's not technically a member of Pouce Coupe, but many people in the community love to go out and see it, and it gets them out here. And so if you could kind of keep us in the loop as you're rolling those out, we would absolutely love to take part and just add to that welcoming, that welcome here. We're so glad to have you. Please check it out, and hey, maybe you'll fall madly in love with the region like we all have, and you'll stay, right? And so I think that you guys are doing a lot of phenomenal stuff. This is wonderful. Councillor Wall?
So I actually went to the opening of Vulture's House. I thought it was a beautiful building. The people in there were fantastic. But you mentioned some concerns about people not knowing that it's there. How can we help you get the word out?
That's a good call. The only thing maybe so Danae Hunter, who's our coordinator at Vulture's House, she is promoting Vulture's House through flyers and pamphlets, maybe sharing that usually on your websites or social media.
Yeah, that would be
yeah, and maybe something that we can try and force one of this thing along to Scoop so that share as well. Try to do that. Absolutely.
Because I mean, if Bold Trace House is successful, it's very needed. It's not needed for Goose because we're so close to Dawson anyways, but it's needed for Tumbler Ridge, Chetwynd, and areas further out. And it's a shame to see that it could be underutilized. In my view, it's a fantastic brand new facility. My recommendation is just lean on the neighbors. I think every community around supports it. I haven't heard anybody I've ever spoken to say anything negative about it at all. So I think it's phenomenal that we have it, and it's phenomenal that people are going, but I want to get that word out.
Ms. Stokes, could we, is there a way that we could include like regional resource tab on our website? Is that would that be a difficult addition to our website if we were to include things within the region such as Bold Trees House and maybe like their contact info and a little bit of information about it? And the second question, would you need a motion to do that?
I need a motion, I'll just look into it.
Check it out. Thank you. Good question, Councilor Rattle.
Sure. Thank you for coming all the way from Tumbler Ridge to speak with us. I do appreciate it. You and the folks you work with do wonderful work. I do appreciate it. I speak for myself, but obviously I feel the room would love to see Poos a part of the retention committee, be a part of the production of these welcome packages, and participate in these appreciation events. As Councillor Wall had said, we are a 10-minute drive from the hospital, whereas we see Fort Nelson and Tumbler have the need for hosting folks in these communities here. Anyways, my question would be then, what does the relationship with the South Peace Division of Family Practice look like? And I understand they're quite newly struck by province, and I'm hoping for continued partnerships with them. How can Poos help foster those connections, and then also what does that current relationship or future relationship look like with the Division of Family Practice?
So I'll be honest, the South Peace Division of Family Practice is its own entity. We are always looking for ways to help partner with them. As you know, our organization is a little bit older. We as an organization are in constant discussions with them on how we can align, how we can work together. Because I think we are working on similar goals in recruitment and retention from different angles. And we definitely don't want to see any overlap. We want to see services that are complementary. So I can't really speak too much about what they are, other than you have to reach out to them. Like I can say anecdotally that I'm friends with their co-chair, our doctor, and with the recruitment and retention committee that you mentioned. I'm just an invitee, so I will bring it to the attention of the heads of that committee to see if we can get some representation from Poos Scoopy, and I'll forward it along to, I assume, the mayor, or Ms. Stokes.
Yeah, either or both. Yeah,
both
perfect.
CCs are quick and easy. So I will definitely make them aware of your interest. I think it's
Sorry, is it Northern Health that hosts this retention committee, or who's the owner, or who hosts that committee? But it's not South Peace, it's basically the
I want to think it's the owners of the organization. That was just an invite.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
It's a new thing. It's exciting. It's like this is the one thing that we're talking about, and we have all the people in the room to have a discussion. Right? We have the doctors. We have Northern Health. We have some elected officials. And I'm there on behalf of the South East Health Service Society, not Council of Tumbler Ridge, but I can still bring some of that into discussions. And I can also speak on behalf of my good friends, the chief of staff of Tumbler Ridge Health Center. So I get to make his brain on what got him here, and I'm trying to get that into the conversation, the recruitment part.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Lucia?
Thanks for driving all the way out to
Yeah.
talk to us for 15 minutes. That was a quick one.
It was wonderful to see you for the second time today.
I think it's important that these, Zoom just doesn't have the same feel as,
No.
being face to face and, with yourself, Mary Beach, being a supporter at the regional district, really wanted to show my appreciation there and for you as well, as elected officials. Because, we're all just doing our best.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you're gonna have a beautiful drive home.
Can I have 2 minutes?
Mayor's. You want to coming up? So, just so everyone is aware, this is our coordinator, Yvonne Barnletter.
So what I've left with everybody is a flyer from Bolter's House. And what I am doing right now is I'm just kind of hitting the streets. And I've just been talking, about the travel bureau, some of the doctor's offices. I'm getting the flyers placed in them. One of the other really exciting things that Chris has allowed me to do is on our website, I'm working on a page that has all the information a new healthcare professional might need when they're coming to Dawson. Rentals, daycares, golf.
Yeah.
Leisure activities.
Leisure activities, and so we're hoping to roll that out hopefully by the end of the month, but then I will add Snoopy in there as well.
Wonderful. Councilor Wong?
We have a little flyer that we send out once a month to the people of Who's called the Village Voice.
Village Voice, yeah.
I'm curious if you would allow us, I'd have to make a motion to put it in there and whatnot, but if we could do a little thing like, what is Boltrace House? Because I think word of mouth would be a really good way of spreading this. Because even though people in Poos might not need it, people that live here might know someone in the surrounding community that does. Could we do a little, would you be okay if I brought that up as an idea to say, hey, this is what Boltrace House is, tell your friends, or anyone who needs medical services in Dawson Creek that is in Dawson Creek?
And then that's something where our staff would reach out to you to sort of collaborate on creating.
I love collaboration. Any collaboration I can get is wonderful. I've collaborated with Danae from Butler's House. I'm sorry. So any collaboration I welcome. My card, I'm admin at southbizhealth.ca. If our website goes up and we have those different activities, whatever, if you see something you'd like to see, shoot me an email. I'll put it in. We just felt that to have one landing page that someone would go to and then be able to, find the rentals or find something interesting to do, or
It's a link we can add on to our website too.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, we'd absolutely love to assist in coming up with that quick paragraph, couple sentences of what it is, so we can get it short and sweet, get it out there.
Yeah. That'd be wonderful. Well, thank you so much. You'll probably be hearing from us.
Okay, and if you do want me to come out to Poos and flyer people, go to the businesses in Poos, would that be of any value?
I'm just trying to think. There's.
You can go to Redwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who
You know
else to
what?
go
You
to.
could literally hit the convenience store, the
Meat store, the
meat
liquor store, all in one
the
spot.
liquor store.
Legion Library.
I'm not gonna go
The
to
Legion might be a good place
Yeah.
to.
the Legion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a talker.
No worries.
I'd love to see this succeed as much as possible, and then it's up to those individual businesses as to how they'd like to approach it. But
Yeah.
no, this is fantastic, and congratulations on your new role.
Yes, thank you. I'm very excited.
Thank you. Awesome. We'll have a wonderful drive home, and try not to be too blinded by the sun, but AC for sure.
I gotta get on anyone.
Thank you, guys.
Right? I do the same thing. Okay, before we moved on, I just realized I did not call in all those in favor for the original delegation motion.
It's a sentence.
Was it even all?
You can call all in favor if you like.
Yeah, okay.
Go for it.
What happened?
What happened to the fail?
I know.
Let's just do it.
Okay, all those in favor for hearing the delegation? There you go. There, I just,
Nobody's gonna know it was backwards in the minutes.
okay.
We'll put it backwards.
I just like making sure all of our bases are
What would
covered.
have happened if it failed though?
Oh, anyways.
We would have had to kick him out.
Yeah, we would have had to keep. We would have had to delete the whole
And then
thing.
you would have felt really bad because you drove all that way.
Yeah.
Drive safe,
Yeah,
folks.
not careful.
See ya.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any motions people would like to make regarding the delegation? Now is there
Should we do such after the delegation though?
after they're gone? The delegation is left.
I would like to make the motion that staff look into reaching out to the Bull Trace House to possibly include this flyer or something similar in our next Village Voice.
Seconded by Councilor Ravel. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Councilor Ravel?
Well, the Southeast Health Services Society, any kind of advertisements pertaining to the Bull Trace House or the Locum House, even though they kind of do Locum through Northern Health. Anyways, fantastic. I'm interested if that's possible, because we were talking the multiple vectors, website, advertising services to the citizens. Village Voice is another vector. So I'm open to website and that link as well. So.
Yeah. Well, this will definitely begin that whole collaboration process, and then Mr. Norbury will reach out as the website becomes developed, and then that's something that we can look at as the future's going on. Okay. All right. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. All right. Number 7, unfinished business and business arising from the minutes. There is none. Moving on to 8, new business. Megan, your turn.
That council receives draft policy 1.29, refreshments for staff, council, and community engagements for discussion.
Seconder, Councilor Wall, thank you. All right, just a reminder, this is a draft. It's not, nothing's going through it, just to get us to kind of talk about what we're looking for and what we are wanting going forward. Councilor Wall.
So for me, looking at this policy, it's a little bit more prescriptive than I was initially hoping for, but that's okay. But with some of the things that are in here, I don't want to appear as though we're bargaining outside of it.
Yeah, and that very much, this is sort of like a multi-level thing, right? Because like food and stuff, that covers the staff in the office, our work department, our volunteer fire department. That can also cover like community events. That could cover volunteer recognition events. That could cover staff Christmas parties, right? So it's really trying to, I understand the original was sort of looking at the excess, and that is something that we could do. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that excess was sort of like food at workshops or food at long council meetings or food at. Yes, okay. So that's what I was kind of getting from that, but because it's a motion that, I can't remember if it was you or Councilor Rebel who put forward, we sort of have to look at it in the large scope and then begin narrowing down what you're specifically looking for. So this is that very large scope and giving us the ability to narrow down what you're specifically looking for. Does that answer your question? Not really, kind of, yeah. Councilor Rebel?
Alrighty. I do appreciate staff's time working on this. I understand that council gave the direction. It's us wanting to ensure that we're being as responsible as possible with taxpayer funds and that we're being fiscally prudent. I appreciate that there's been work done on this. This appears to be more of a guideline than a policy. And what I mean by that is it more describes the how versus the what. There's what in here, but I think we should keep it higher level at the what, essentially ensuring that expenditures regarding food and beverages done with taxpayer dollars are done so in a manner that is not to excess. And that's a very hard thing to pin down. And I see that staff have attempted to do that, but I don't want to tread on the toes of the collective agreement. I don't want to tread on the toes of existing labor legislation in regards to access to drinking water. For goodness sakes, I don't want to, ever impede somebody from accessing drinking water. But I really don't. Anyways, what I'm getting at is essentially the spirit of it is fiscal prudence. I'm wondering what standard accepted accounting practices or guidelines from the province already exist regarding food and beverage purchases made with public dollars. And that's kind of what I think would be the next piece, would be, okay, this might be a little too specific, and to restrict it, and I don't want to tread on toes. So maybe more of the how and not the what, but I do appreciate the spirit of what is recognized here.
No, I've been sort of looking at this and really sort of mulling the whole thing over. And, you know, another way that we could look at sort of dealing with the excess that you're concerned about while also not impeding on all these other things is making it so that within the policy it basically states that any food that's brought in for training sessions, workshops, like OCPs or strat plan nights, is a vote by council. So it's automatically brought forward and council decides whether or not they're going to be bringing in food. And then that sort of leaves it up to that one puts a halt, so it's not an automatic expectation, but then it also gives council an opportunity to, you know, say like, well, do we really need this, or can we all just eat and then go? Like maybe we'll make the meeting later, right? So, because I'm just trying to think in sort of not simpler terms, but in the way of what you're thinking with the excess, where it's really just focusing on those training nights, those workshop nights, but it's not impeding our volunteer recognition nights, our Canada Day, our community events, right? I don't want any of those things to be impeded in the community, right? So we ran into this issue in June where normally we would do a volunteer appreciation barbecue, right? But already having this on the floor sort of made it was like, well, should we or should we not? Where I think if we like really stick it to those excess things, exactly what you were saying, and make it so that that has to come back to council for us to all speak openly in the public and vote on, that would be another way of making sure that those community and recognition events are still happening. It's just the added stuff. Does that make sense? Councilor Ravel?
And to that, that's kind of the spirit is, our duty as council is to ensure that the governance of the village is such that it's done in a manner that is transparent and all those pieces that are standardly acceptable and demanded of us as a democratic institution. And I want to see this as I want to ensure that this is a fun place, that people, you know, have a hot dog on old-fashioned Christmas. That's a tradition and it should continue. It's just, as I previously mentioned in the budget discussions, it's a low-hanging fruit situation where, you know, pizza at a council workshop, easy to slash, but it opens up the can of worms of, well, what do we cut, what do we not cut, right? What's under the microscope? And I want to keep it a fun place, but also make sure that there are checks and balances in place so that we have a clear mechanism, especially with auditing every year and with public transparency, that it is clear that we follow guidelines that are set out, that are clear, transparent, and that we're not, you know, this, that, and the other, but it's still a good place to work and it's still a good place to live. So it's striking that balance. It is a very hard balance to strike. I absolutely understand that. It's asking for the tightest of tightropes, but I'm curious as to what the other standardly accepted practices are that other institutions exercise, and especially the recommendations made by the province. I think that's another starting point. But I'd say my suggestion would be to potentially just table this or to get back for revision. I think it goes a little too in-depth, but I understand it's kind of based on the direction given from council to staff. Where does it stop? I understand kind of where this is coming from as it went through the black box. Anyways.
So going back to what I was saying about this being a bit too prescriptive for what I was envisioning with it, my end goal with asking staff to look into reducing food expenditures for meals was just to bring the total amount we're spending down. That's it. Like right here it says, no coffee or tea will be provided. I personally don't think we're blowing the bank on coffee at the village office, or especially for public works. Out in the cold, in the winter, well not today out in the cold, but 35
It would be ice.
yeah, today it's ice. But, or for our firefighters, or nothing like, I don't want to go, no, you can't drink coffee. That's really not the intention I'm trying to, I just want the total amount that we're spending to decrease, if we could just be a little bit more thoughtful about where we're spending this money, because there's other areas of the budget that are quite tight. It's the end of the day, that's all I'm really looking for.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at this sheet that, staff has made of all of the meals that involved any food, coffee, or water for the village in 2023. And this does include public events such as Old Fashioned Christmas and Canada Day. And really, my big focus went to various various meetings, coffee, water, workshops, etc. at 1,157. Now, that I think is sort of what you're really wanting to focus on. Not so much the coffee and water bit for meetings, of course, but like the overall meals. Because looking at these numbers, next to the public works coffee and water supply, that's almost the next biggest one, right? And so that 1,154.65, that would be those training sessions, the OCP, the strat plan, the workshops, and so, well, I do understand what Councillor Rabel is saying about seeing what the province standard is. I don't know if we're going to get a ton back. That's my only thing. I don't know if there is a provincial standard for taxpayer dollars on food. I'm going to be honest.
I know.
I
looked into it. I couldn't find much.
I couldn't find it either. So I don't think there is one. And so I think really we're sort of leading the charge on this one thing. I really think that this is something that's already being done. And so that's why I'm sort of making the suggestion of when it comes to things like workshops, training, like our meet and greet that we hold every September, things that are involving council as a collective where, we're hosting or learning or doing something, that's where it should come to the vote. And I know it's only $1,100, but that's kind of where my brain's going with it. Councillor Wall?
At the end of the day, it all adds up to about 10,000. So
yes.
If we could just thinking out loud here, but if we could at the end of the day, look at this, and in 1 year's time, like in the beginning of 2025, look at 2024 numbers, and go, and just set the goal that it's less in 2024 than we did in 2023.
Yeah.
And then hope to bring those numbers down just so that we're being fiscally responsible.
Well, like, as I said, like, a large majority of these numbers are Canada Day, public events, so staff and volunteer, barbecue, that was only 169, Old Fashioned Christmas, the Christmas party, like, a large majority of that was like more of stuff we did in the community where we were recognizing our volunteers or we were feeding our firefighters after they're out for long calls. That's what the majority of that 10,000 kind of is, right? Where, I get what you're saying. I know, it's like, oh, sorry, Nisco. I was reading.
Just keep in mind inflation. So if you're going to put a budget forward, you're going to say, let's try to cut back. Just remember that every year things seem to go up. So we're going to be hard.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm thinking if we were to attach a motion to those excess things, those workshops, those trainings, those public meet and greets, those things that council is physically hosting or bringing in, we may be able to have more control on the wiggle room there, where it might get a bit difficult for the volunteer, like barbecue, those things. I'm just going to reflect to Councillor Rabel first, since he did his hand up, and then I'm going to go to you.
Sure. So, high-level piece, because that's where we have to live. We must ensure that there are appropriate checks and balances for these expenditures and that we are faithfully the stewards of the public money. It's very tricky because we're such a small village that it ends up getting quite prescriptive because it's like, well, this and this and this. If it was a large city, it would just say, okay, this expenditure gets approved by this person, then reports to this person, and it gets consolidated in this, which eventually comes to council, who approves the whole thing. It's just essentially assuring, I believe that we have those checks and balances, but the finer tuning of that machine, right?
Yeah.
Our job is to ensure checks and balances exist for this. So, and I just want to see easy to cut things easy to cut, and turns out they're not the easiest to cut. So that's how it rolls down.
Councillor Wall?
I'm gonna say this as while drinking out of a water bottle, but
That we brought.
yeah, but we have some of the cleanest water in BC that come out of our taps here. And I'm curious, out of this about $2,300 on coffee and water supplies between the office and public works, do we need to provide bottled water? Can people bring their own bottles?
Yeah, that's been like.
In the heat, you must supply water, whether it's they bring their own bottles or not.
I think it only gets difficult when it's with the public works guys. They often drive around with cases of water in their trucks, especially on like summer days. That's where it's sort of like a big thing, is that they often do have cases, and I know the fire department, they take cases of water with them to go fight fires.
Because this amount here is, there are 3 houses in Poos that are paying only for bottled water when they pay their taxes. If you look at it that way, the average tax.
No, exactly.
Right.
It's just, in some areas, I see what you're saying, it might be difficult. So like I said, the firefighters, they take bottled water, they go to fire calls.
Well, I mean, like generally speaking, if the
Yeah.
works officer here, could we just put a water fill station, we'd save money at the end of the day.
We do have our water, yeah.
Yeah, but we have tap water too, which is cleaner than that water.
Right now, there's no employee that will drink tap water.
We're very tap water.
That's your tap water.
What's wrong with the tap water? This is tap water in a bottle.
No one touches tap water here either.
No, it's,
Why would, our CAO was saying she won't drink the tap water, why?
I
yeah.
don't like it. I'll bring
Well,
my own water from home.
Either way, we're going off of our discussion at this point. Councillor Rowell?
Yeah, so I think I appreciate what's been presented. It's a bit too specific.
Mhm.
We definitely need to not have a piece that references a collective agreement that
Yeah.
if negotiated, like changes in the future could potentially, we gotta leave that piece out. My suggestion would be to strike any piece regarding a collective agreement. The other piece is drinking water is assumed to be provided, so we'll kind of have to step away from that one too. Let's get back to the what and not the how is kind of what I would suggest. How exactly that's done, I'm not too sure. This is, because it's a small place, it gets specific, right? And we gotta get away
Yeah.
from driving the trains. We gotta look at the whole rail yard.
And that's why I'm sort of wondering if the policy, right, if you were to draft it, would be more focused on those excess things like workshops and training days and stuff. Because then that is something like we can automatically cut right there by holding council more accountable. Does that make sense?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that whenever food is to be provided at a council event, it must come to council prior to that event as a motion.
Okay.
That's a great way to start, I think.
Yes, I think so. I think we're kind of getting on the train's on the track. And then it's just, I think as Councillor Wall had mentioned, seeing the 2024 numbers and looking at those in 2025 and going, okay, did we make a difference by doing this? Does that make sense? Yes, no?
Yeah, I just want to see, at the end of the day, I just want to see this number go down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
However that happens, I
Yeah.
really don't care. I just want it to go down.
Okay.
As long as people still drink water, and I don't care about coffee. But
Yeah, well, I'm gonna second Councillor Wall's motion, and, we're gonna discuss it. Councillor Rebel.
I don't want to be here all day going over this. It's assumed. I wonder where it already exists. The problem with our policies, as we've been doing them as a body, is we've been kind of, this, that. We have to have kind of a focused effort to see the whole thing holistically and make sure that it's not just bam. In this one it's this, if this one it's this. And so
Yeah.
I wonder how we kind of step back. I think it's a standard practice to vote on expenditure prior to something happening. I don't know if we need that as a specific motion, because would it go in this policy? What does that look like, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that somewhere already that exists, right?
I'm not 100% sure. Ms. Stokes?
That's the whole point to the budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you approve a budget. There's a line item, and that's what staff works off of.
Yeah.
It's not meant to bring every little thing back to council for
Yeah.
approval.
No.
That's why we do a budgeting process every year.
Councillor Rowell.
So friendly amendment to that, it would be then, in the revision of this this draft policy, that any food or beverage expenditure associated with council is done by a council motion in a public meeting prior to that expenditure and consumption. I
Yeah.
don't know if that, like.
That's my intent.
Yeah. That's pretty much what Councillor Wall
Okay,
is.
so it's kind of saying,
yeah.
okay, the council piece and then the staff piece, you know, we're kind of trying to leave out of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Because we're in control of our own.
We could still potentially look into provincial policies that exist on purchasing of food and beverages with
Yeah.
taxpayer money.
Yeah, it's been hard. I haven't found much. That's why I don't think it exists.
I'm sure there's other public organizations or other municipalities that have similar things, so.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Rebel?
So with the concept of governance, it usually doesn't get this specific. Usually it's having some system of checks and balances. You know, somebody buys it on a credit card, it's approved by another person and signed off and all this. So the checks and balances exist in internal mechanisms of approval and are within, the expenditures occur within the limits of a defined budget. So we kind of set the budget, right? If we set the budget for food at $500, well, that's it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the lever we can pull, right? So I think in regards to governance, we need to kind of step up a level in this. So anyways, I also want to give staff clear direction because I think we're kind of mired in the uncertainty of it right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not going to help staff. So
Well, I think that's what Councillor Wall's motion will kind of help. It will sort of.
give us specific.
Yes,
Sure.
and then so it'll then come forward again in a draft, and we're more than welcome to kind of continue to work on it, or if council decides this is something we should be dealing with in the budget, then we can look at, you know, doing that during budget season instead, right? So it kind of gives us both of those mechanisms to look at either or.
Mhm.
Councillor Howell.
So then my hope with this specific draft is being cautious with the staff's pieces that might pertain to a collective and cautious with the existing labor legislation stuff, but then being very public about council food and beverage expenditures, so that's the check and balance publicly on council. I think that's a reasonable place to start as a direction, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Just to bring another
Bring it
pass
forward,
that to
accountability
staff and then bring
yeah.
that back.
Yeah, no, and I think Councillor Wall's motion does it really, really well, so
Okay.
I'm gonna call the question on Councillor Wall's motion. Councillor Rebel's amendment wasn't seconded, so it's still the original motion, but I think the language you were going for was in Councillor Wall's motion. It was just a bit more simplified, but it
Sure.
very much is the same.
Sure.
Where it's just really focusing on those extra for council.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. All right, all those in favor? And that's passed. There you go. So they will bring us that back. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Just have to call the question on 8.1.
For discussion?
I'll make the motion to table.
Well, no,
No?
no, because we've given them direction within the discussion bit.
Oh.
So the direction has already been given, so we're fine, we can move on.
It's been a while.
No worries. All right, so 8.2.
The council receives draft policy 8.8 conference attendance for discussion.
Seconder, Councillor Wall, thank you. All right, Councillor Rabble.
Spirit of this is that we give direction as to what conferences council wishes to attend so that it can help in the preparation of the annual budget. I appreciate this. This is good stuff. My only kind of question is there are quite a few. UBC, UBCM, and NCLGA make a lot of sense. The Federation of the Canadian Municipality piece, you know, once a term, that makes sense, keeping the federal connection.
Very expensive, yeah.
Super expensive. It's usually out east. BC Natural Resource Forum is good every once in a while. I'm not too sure what Growing the North is. I think you mentioned that previously. I've not gone to it myself.
No, and I had to choose between paying to go to FCM or paying to go to Growing the North. So I
Okay.
chose FCM because it was in Calgary. Growing the North is it's not newer, but it's getting more amped up.
Yeah.
That one is attended by all of our northern partners, our Indigenous northern partners, PRRD, all of our surrounding municipalities, all the way down to the Fraser Valley.
There's one minor thing in here.
Yeah.
So I really like UBCM, the NCLGA, those are major. Resource Forum, I think, was quite helpful. Growing the North, I have never been, but I've heard other people who have gone, and they've said it's fantastic.
Yes.
So I think 2 members of council and the mayor, especially us in the North agricultural community, could be better. The only concern I have is with the FCA. And that is because sometimes we might not, once every 4 years might be enough, and just send the mayor.
Yeah.
Right? Might be, if we have a very cooperative federal government that supports our industries in the North and whatnot.
It's very expensive. Like, well, I paid out of pocket to go to the one in Calgary, and by the time I was all said and done, between my ticket, which was registration was $1,700 each alone, plus my accommodation, I spent over $5,400 attending it. Like, they don't supply food every night. There was only 3 nights where there was food provided out of the 5. Yeah, it's and they normally hold it in Toronto and Ottawa and Montreal, so that would have inflated it twice as much. I drove down.
That is very expensive.
It's one of the most expensive, and that's why it is so expensive. Yeah, I spent around $5,400 between my fuel and everything.
I see where you came from on that one.
Yeah, that's why I sort of put the once in a term, because I know previous mayor and CAO, they went to the one in Montreal. Yes, and it's a very expensive conference. The tickets alone are $1,700, and that was for Calgary, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're more expensive if you're doing it in Montreal.
I wouldn't want to go to Montreal now.
Yeah. Councillor Ravel?
2 pieces. The last sentence, where it's as information sharing is beneficial to all, councillors attending other conferences will provide a written. Can we strike other and just make it for all conferences and workshops? It's just that specific one word other, because as per this policy, it would be anything other than UBCM. I want to see a report from each person who attends for every conference.
Oh yeah, this is any conference except these ones.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind seeing other just struck from the draft, if that makes sense, because then it includes every conference. Yeah. Every attending member must produce a report. I think that's a good place to start.
You're making a great point.
Okay, so sounds like there's reasonable with that. And continuing with my next piece is, so this is actually a really great policy. I really do appreciate it if it's in the spirit of what I was hoping to see, because it would help staff kind of clearly understand, instead of a couple of weeks before, it's like, scrambling at the last minute, can we do it, can we not, what's in the budget, what's not, yada yada yada. So it actually would help both us and staff. This would be some work for staff, but hypothetically, a ballpark figure of, okay, take this draft policy and actually throw some numbers beside it. What would it look like for all 5 of us every year at UBCM? And like, throw some numbers beside this. What would that actually look like?
Would
You
that
know,
change
No, but we've gone to various things.
Yeah.
You know, if the travel is this much and usually registration is this much.
Yeah.
I don't mean to the cents or even to the last dollar. I'm saying to the nearest 100 or 1,000.
Would you want it within the policy?
No, gosh, no. I'm saying we're about to approve a draft policy, which will help set the standard for future budgets.
Okay.
We, before we approve this policy, should look at an example of what this actually looks like in dollar figures.
Or before we approve the future budgets, we should know how much it's going to cost.
Oh,
well,
okay.
because staff will then present a budget to us, taking this into consideration.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing, okay, if all 5 of us every year go to UBCM, what does that look like? Same with CLGA. I'd like to see some dollar figures beside that, because I think that would aid in us approving this, because then we get into that conversation of, well, this would be fantastic in an ideal world where we've got an electric train that costs us $5 to get wherever.
Yeah.
Would
Okay, so you're not looking to see it built within the policy,
No,
you're just
gosh,
looking
no.
for that for information.
For context,
Yeah.
before we approve this policy, because it's a great policy and it really helps set a direction, but before we do it, we've got 5 things every year, or well, 4 things every year that's listed for all these various members. That's some serious cash, right? So hypothetically, if staff just throws some quick numbers based off of previous years, kind of a ballpark of what this policy in action each annually.
You like to see
look
an
like.
estimated average, right?
Well,
Or an average.
okay, each person, $4,000 to go to UBCM, times that by the 5 it's suggested, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm getting at, if that makes sense, if that's amenable.
Okay.
Is that something that would be doable?
Yeah.
And ballpark, not to the nearest cent, just 100 or 1,000, just so that we've
Give you an
context.
average cost on it costs, and as per this policy.
Yes, like what it would actually look like, so we don't suddenly see next year's staff executing this as a presented budget, and then we suddenly go, oh, it's $35,000, what's going on, right? It's kind of, I think that would be a great next step before we approve this policy.
Just for clarification, Ms. Stokes, do you need a motion or anything for that, or you'll just bring it back on the information? Okay, Councillor Wall?
I really like the policy as presented. I'm considering making a motion to approve it today. Because what it does is it allows it gives us, every year there's discussion of who's going to UBCM.
Yes.
Every year there's discussion about who's going to SCLGA. This gives every councillor and the mayor the opportunity to certainty about what's going to happen. That gives the community certainty as well about who's going and when. That doesn't mean, like this year UBCM is coming up, that doesn't mean all 5 of us are available to go.
No.
But that means that
The option is available for them to reserve our place though, that's the big.
that's the big ticket item.
Yes.
And if we
You
don't
can get early bird pricing if they reserve, and then if you decide, oh, well, we can't go. Oh, can you not?
Not for tickets. The
Ah.
only thing we can reserve in advance is your hotel.
Okay.
Once we book you, there's a refund policy for UBCM. I think there's so much, if you cancel by this date, so much by this date, and then you lose it if you cancel by this date. There's that. But we can't reserve your tickets in advance.
Okay.
So that's why the next one is the rates for UBCM. Anyway.
Either way, it does
I
make
think
it
it'd be-
easier.
I think it's important that we approve this today so that we know what's happening this year at UBCM. So that when our village's motion comes up at like we actually have a motion going to UBCM this year that was approved through the NCLGA.
Yeah.
So we have certain.
With a resolution.
Yes,
Yeah.
what did I say?
Motion.
Oh, gosh.
I know what you mean though.
Very similar, but not quite the same.
I do actually agree with everything Councillor Wall is saying. I don't know if receiving the information on the numbers would change our opinion on these conferences. I think it would be great to know the information, but at the end of the day, I don't think it would change it, because if you think of all that we get out of them, we've gotten ideas on grants, we've gotten connections with, I just recently made a connection with CN through the FCM. We have a lot of things that come out of these, and I think it's difficult to put a dollar amount on them. So I really don't know if having the monetary information there I can tell you personally, it wouldn't change my vote, because I feel we get so much out of them.
But just to say something. In 2023, I don't know how much we spent on grants. But what I do know, or I don't know how much we spent on conferences. What I do know is we got a lot more grant money under those connections and information that got us those grants. I mean, how much was that one grant? 875,000 or something like that?
800, that one was automatically given to us. The biggest grant we got this year was the Boom grant. That was like the biggest grant, was like 2 point something million.
2 million, like we wouldn't have, it's worth it to spend $10,000 to get $2 million, in my opinion.
And that's why I don't know if the numbers would.
To me, that's To me, that's an investment, right? If people look at it and go, oh, you spent $10,000.
Slow as a glacier.
If you come out of that, if you spend that 10 grand and you come out with 2 million, we're doing pretty good.
Okay. Right. We're going to allow Councillor Ravel?
I understand the spirit. Important point though, from the member opposite, have we approved the travel for this year's UBCM, which is happening in September? We only have the August meeting prior, and then an early September meeting prior.
That's why this is now.
That's why that's a valid, well, that is a valid point.
Ms. Stokes?
I've also attached the rates for UBCF in the next,
Yes.
somewhere in there.
They're in this agenda, they're under correspondence. UBCM,
Oh.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I saw the confirmation of resolution. Oh, whoa,
Yes.
it's wait.
hang on, he's getting there. Councillor
Yeah.
Wall?
I make a motion to accept this policy as amended with the exclusion of the word other on the last sentence.
I second his motion. We can still discuss it, okay. Councillor Ravel?
But if I hypothetically vote in opposition, it might kill the policy technically.
No.
Because it fails to be accepted tonight.
Well, that depends on.
It's 2-1.
You
have one right
Mayor Beach and I both vote yes. You're out of luck.
Wait, no, point of order, sorry, quorum rules, isn't it the entire body regardless of who's
Nope.
present?
No.
Nope. Has to be 3 out of 5, have to be there. All I need.
But then
And
quorum,
then
then,
quorum, you have quorum for council. You have
Yes.
3 of your 5 people. They're gonna vote. If they vote in favor and you vote against, they win.
seriously?
Yeah.
I really thought it doesn't even,
Nope.
No. That's how.
just 2 out of 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
You have to have a quorum
Only
for
if there's
council.
3 of us here. If all 5 of us
Yeah,
were
yeah,
here,
obviously.
majority
Then
would
you
be.
need 3 of the 5.
Yes.
Whoever's present.
Councillor Wall?
What I want to say to you, Councillor Rabel, is maybe the policy isn't perfect, but it's what we have, and I think it's pretty darn good.
I think it's really good.
I think it's really good, and it doesn't mean everyone's going to go every year. And every conference we've gone to, we have gotten more out of it. Like, we have gotten more financially from those conferences than we spent going to them.
So, flip side, put a bow on it. Essentially, this policy helps staff with direction as to how to produce the budget regarding conferences, so it's not all last minute. It's bad for council, it's bad for staff. And then it's clear as to what we're gonna spend. We don't have to all go, we don't have to all spend all the money to 100%. Maybe it's 60%, maybe it's 80% of it, who knows? Anyways, so I understand that we don't have to all go, and if it is too expensive, we can dial it back, and we don't have to go to every single thing. And most likely 1 or 2 might not come anyways. It's quite common that it's not. I don't know when
It's all of us, yeah.
have all 5 of us even gone to a conference altogether once?
Yeah,
You haven't, but previous councils have.
we went to the LGLA in Prince George.
NCLGA.
Right after the election.
Ms.
We all went
Stokes,
to that one, yeah. That
Ms.
was it.
Stokes, do you have a comment you'd
Just
like?
keep in mind that you're still gonna get a report that's gonna come forward to
Yes.
council because they're gonna need to know who's attending,
Fair.
okay?
Yeah.
So granted, you won't need the budget approval because in your budget, it's already been budgeted. With your policy, this covers the budget line.
Yeah.
But council or administration will still come forward to you to see who is
Who is
going to
going.
attend. Because we have to know who to register. You
Exactly.
can't just register all 5 of you and then back out.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I'm gonna take 2 last comments and then I'm gonna call the vote. So I'm gonna go Councillor Wall and Councillor Raffle again.
What this policy also alleviates is, this year at the NCLGA, I wanted to go to the NCLGA and I was not able to go through council. And Councillor Rabel did not want to go to NCLGA, but council voted to send him anyway.
Yeah.
So that would alleviate situations like that where, oh, well, 2 spaces are going and if you don't want to go, you don't have to go, but it's budgeted there for those who do want to attend, and if you don't want to.
It will make life a lot easier.
It'll save us, it's taking us time right now to save us time
Down the road.
every other meeting.
Councillor Raffle, your final comment?
okay.
15 minutes later. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, seriously. Anyways, so, all right. Staff will already have to do similar type of work in order to produce the budget. Anyways, they will come with numbers in, probably the end of the year. So I'm not really sure. Anyways, sometime later, staff will have to produce numbers anyways.
Yes.
don't be surprised if there's a bit of shock and horror at how expensive this number will look. So therefore, it's, you know, I do agree with the policy. It's a really, really strong policy. It is what I was looking for, and I do appreciate that work. I guess we'll just have to see when the budget draft is presented later this year as to what that number is.
Our current budget line for conferences is 45,000. Am I correct for all 5 of us? Oh, I'm throwing you on the spot. I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
I
Somewhere between 35 and 40, I believe, is what it's set at. Because we set 20,000 alone for UBCM.
Yes. Thank you. I apologize.
$4,000 or 4,000 per person.
Ms. Stokes.
Councillor Rebel, I can get these numbers to you in an
Anyways.
email if you're okay with that. You can
I think
decide.
he wants
to
it
share.
to be public.
That's fine, but I'll just throw some numbers together and I can give it to you for reference at the next council meeting.
Although I do certainly appreciate that. If staff time is utilized for numbers that are to inform a policy that's already approved, then it wouldn't be necessary at this time. So I certainly appreciate that sentiment. That work will kind of already have to be done in the future anyways to produce the budget, I assume, not to talk operationally. So although I appreciate it,
You're not
it
feeling
really
any-
depends on what this vote ends up being, because it's all undecided until it's decided. Anyways, if the vote is that this policy passes, I will not require the numbers at this time
I made a note that you want them for budget season.
because obviously they will come up for budget season. So thank you.
Okay, all right, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of adopting the policy with the change of the word, with removing the word other?
What? All of that to vote yes?
Ouch.
You're not allowed to question somebody by they vote.
You're not, actually.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I retract that last comment. I apologize, Councillor.
Yeah, respond. That's so uncouth.
Can I just point out that you have a consultant sitting, waiting to join your next meeting?
Okay, talk about this later. Okay, 8.3.
That council gives the mayor and the corporate officer the authorization to sign the new 2024 to 2034 Canada Community Building Fund Agreement.
Councillor Wall, thank you. Discussion? Councillor Ravel?
I had asked prior to this meeting for some contextual numbers for so essentially this is for definitely the next 5 years. They've given us numbers, and I've asked if we can get some context on the previous year's numbers. The next 5 years seem to be in the kind of 98,000 range, whereas in previous years it seems to have fluctuated, and this, in my view, is a rebranding of the gas tax and maybe a little rejigging. It actually opens up some really cool things for fire truck tenders and all of this stuff.
It's really exciting, actually.
So it's very much in the neighborhood, except for 2019, for some reason it's 176. But other years it's 80, 90. So it does look like a slightly higher number. So on that end, we are, and I appreciate the context from staff because now I can go, it's actually a bit of a better deal. And we get to utilize it for other capital projects like a fire truck tender, if I'm understanding this correctly.
It's changed a bunch of different things that are in the benefit of the community, yes. Okay, any other discussion? Councillor Ravel?
Good job UBCM on this.
Oh,
We
yeah.
saw this at UBCM. This is coming to fruition. We saw this at NCLGA. This is good work being done.
Okay, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. All right. 8.4 recommendation.
That council decide if they would like to donate the Moose Scooping Museum Harvest Tea.
Okay, I'll second that. I'd just like to mention, in previous years, what we've traditionally done is we've donated the cost of covering the hall cleaning, as well as, I think it's a $50 towards a door prize. So that we have done that in previous years. So I'm not sure if council would be interested in doing the same thing again, of donating the cost of the cleaning of the hall, and then a $50 door prize or $75 door, whatever price for a door prize you'd like, but we have done that in the past. Before you make it. Councilor Wall.
I make the motion that we donate the cost of the cleaning of the hall and a $100 door prize.
Jeez.
What?
Wait, what did-
$100 you're thinking? Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Stokes?
I just interject. Usually what we do when council says $100 door prize is we give the museum the $100 and we let them put the door prize together.
Okay.
Because they know what they need because they get all those donations, so they try to go and get something that's not the same as what they
Yes.
got.
Okay, so I need a seconder on the motion that Councilor Wall just made. Councilor Ravel is seconded. Thank you. Discussion? Councilor Ravel?
Yeah, this seems consistent with things in the past. I want to see the museum succeed, and the Harvest Tea is a lovely event that they put on every year. So yeah, let it succeed, right?
All right, you're good on here. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. There it is. So excited. Alrighty. Moving on to 8.5.
The council receives the email from the mayor for information.
Email. Oh, yeah, that's what I said. Seconded by Councilor Wall. Thank you very much. Councilor Wall?
Seems like a great opportunity. I'd love to meet the Goose Goopy family up in Doig River. I think it's community building, which is what we need, especially with our local First Nations right now.
Yes. I know, Councilor Rebel, you would ask for a little bit more context of what this is going to involve, so I sort of wrote a few things out. So I've been connecting with Doig River off and on throughout my time as mayor, establishing a relationship with their chief and council. And they've now invited all of council. As I said, I've previously met them, I've been working with them, and now they'd love to meet all of you. So they would like to invite all of council out to meet not only their chief and council as well, but to also have a formal introduction with the Pouce Coupe family, as well as see the gravesite of Chief Pouce Coupe, which is out there. This will be a day that is spent learning more about the traditional history of Pouce Coupe itself, and its connection to Doig River, as well as learn about the local culture of the Treaty 8 First Nations, and meet and sort of break bread with the Pouce Coupe family. So that's what the whole day is going to be. Very exciting. Yes, Councilor Ravel.
Sounds lovely. Is September 24th a Saturday? I think it is. Sorry to people on the spot. Tentatively booked for September 24th. If it's a Saturday, it's a fine day.
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. I was going to say, it's during the week. You work like 20 hours on that day.
I obviously would love to attend, and I will have to see with my employer if that's possible. So
I'm hoping by giving enough advance,
yeah.
you may have a better luck getting it off, yeah.
Oh, and when is UBCM?
So that's the week before.
Oh, okay. So we'll be fresh and
We
full of ideas.
worked it around everything, so,
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could this be on the weekend?
I'd like to keep it during the week, just because, they're working, their staff is working, right, they're all there, rather than have to call them all in. So that's why we had chosen weekday versus weekend.
Oh, it's gonna be a whole shindig? It's not just going out there and meeting everybody?
No, it's like a whole shindig. Like, they're having a big lunch, they're having a huge luncheon, and yeah, it's a whole shindig.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Councilor Rattle?
My assumption is that we'll have to transport ourselves at our own expense, correct?
Well, that's sort of up to you guys. So there is grant money that has been provided to us by the provincial government to do community to community, what are they called? Engagements. So we could access that grant money for this reason. The province wants community to community engagements with our First Nations partners. That money is sitting in a account. We've been using it with our fire halls, been engaging with Kelly Lake, doing some training, some introduction nights. It's been going really, really well. And so that money needs to be used for this reason. The province is expecting to see us doing these things and using that money. So it wouldn't be like an added expense on the taxpayers. This is something that the province is initiating through Truth and Reconciliation. Councillor Rattle.
In regards to that fund, would it be able to sustain such a trip if all 5 members went and charged regular mileage as per standard accepted accounting practices?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay then.
Like, they want us to meet,
Okay.
so I've taken time to meet almost every, I've done all the community-to-community engagements with PRRD, and I've been lucky to be able to do them that way. But I would love for council to now start going out and this is a provincial truth and reconciliation expectation. And so I've been sort of going out and opening those doors, so don't be surprised if more of these meetings. So I am hoping to see one from Soto stations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pemmican Days.
Right? Pemmican Days already happened.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't go.
Oh. Yes, Councillor Rebel.
What do you need from council? Would this be authorization to initiate this meeting? Authorization for the release of funds regarding compensation for travel?
It's my understanding it needs to be a joint motion, right? Understanding that we will be doing a community-to-community engagement with Doig River for September 24th. Is that the wording that you're looking for, Ms. Stokes?
Yep.
So if you label it as a community-to-community engagement, it automatically comes out of that fund that's being provided by the government.
Mayor, would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I put the motion on the floor that myself and council go to a community-to-community engagement with Doig River First Nations for September 24th. Oh, are you seconding?
Yes.
You're so excited about that.
I'd love to go out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've been out twice.
I've driven past it, but I've never been.
Councillor Rabble?
And then the funds, just like funds for travel, is that, it's already included and
Yes.
assumed?
I was like, oh, we can't think of a quick vote. No, I was kidding.
But this means that our relationship with the First Nations is improving.
Phenomenally, yes.
Yes.
It's been
out.
it's been a wonderful year, yeah. So.
Well, it's within discussion. Hypothetically, if there's a memorandum of understanding that wishes to be reached, how would we approach that?
Well, that's,
Council first.
yeah, that's,
You would make those decisions at that meeting.
On the fly,
yeah, that's like a huge,
Okay.
that's gotta go to like public, yeah, that's.
This is your first step, you're gonna go.
Yeah, this is step one. Community,
Break bread.
we get to go break bread, eat food, and visit.
We get to meet the family that our town is named after.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Okay, perfect. I'm calling the question. All those in favor? Yay! We get to meet them. They're lovely. Okay, all right. 8.6,
That council receives a report on graffiti painting for discussion.
seconded by Councillor Rabble. Thank you very much. Councillor Wall?
I think the rule board looks good. I don't think it needs to be a policy. I think just the rule board and the thing that you wrote down on there looks pretty good. So I will make a motion to put the sign up.
He's just like rushing through this agenda now. Like in a seconder.
It looks good.
I'll second it to bring it to discussion.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Rabble. Yes, Councillor Rabble.
In order to enable the graffiti painting of the
Skate park.
skate park public infrastructure, do we need to amend a bylaw that probably prohibits graffiti? Or
We don't have one.
we don't have a graffiti bylaw?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Don't let the kids know.
A loophole. Yes, Councillor Rabble.
And then, sorry, don't mean to be a stickler, liability stuff. Hypothetically, if the painted surface produces a slip hazard, what would be the liability on the village? Let's say somebody paints that perfect spot with a sort of paint that is of a silky coating. Would that be an increased liability on the village?
We've got our wheels turning.
Sorry.
Councillor
Yeah.
Wall?
Councillor Rabble, have you ever tried to walk on that skate park?
It's pretty slick.
It's already quite slick and steep and
Isn't that so the skateboard can go?
can slip around in every other direction.
My only concern with this policy, I'm gonna voice it, okay, is
Yeah.
that now we're gonna have people, painting it and decorating, and that's lovely. But every time there's a specific member that gets painted on there, it needs to be painted over. Are we going to suddenly start spending a more excessive amount in paint and public works time to repair if they keep painting certain things?
My understanding, sorry.
No, I would like to hear from Ms.
My understanding is that if there happens to be something that is not quite acceptable, that the painters tend to paint over and over. And if staff goes, i.e. Public Works Director or bylaw officer, and feels that it falls in the, it's not appropriate, then we will paint over it, and we always have paint for that purpose too. And then it'll be a fresh canvas for the next person.
Councilor Wall?
Another thing is, the whole purpose of me bringing up this policy like a while ago in the first place was we were seeing phalluses and other symbols all over town.
Yes.
And, you know, kids will be kids, and if you don't know who they are and you can't stop them, at least we can try to centralize it on one
Area.
area instead of on someone's garage door, or the church, or the museum, or the fire hall, or something anyways. So from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but Ms. Stokes, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that Public Works has probably painted over quite a few of them anyways.
Oh, she's nodding, yes.
Well, we've always painted over it because nobody's ever expressed, no council has expressed an interest to have artwork on it. So Public Works has always thought that it's supposed to be kept.
Some of the tags are actually quite, like, have you seen some of them?
Yeah, some of them are really.
It's like, don't paint it on the side of someone's garage, like,
Yeah.
they're gonna paint over it.
And our rule board, like I said, the rule board will state the skate park as well as the cement bullards. So if they don't feel they want to paint, they want to kind of do a mural, we thought they could have those cement bullards to paint as well.
Councilor Rebel?
Should we do a trial period for this? Where we execute it for the period of a month or two and review it?
Trial period's a bit difficult. I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of staff time when you're doing trial periods, because then it's like, it's not really a, what is this currently? It's a policy.
Okay,
or
how about
something,
this
right?
then?
Yeah.
It's not a policy, it's just a board.
Oh, okay.
It's a board. So my suggestion is you let it go for a year and council goes and takes a look at it in a year's time and decides what they want to do next.
Or if Ms. Stokes is here for Public Works every day, that there's.
Well, yeah,
Years.
then concerns will be brought up to council
Yeah.
and we'll say, okay, this is getting out of hand, it's a little bit
Too much.
gross, or, you
Yeah.
know, and what does council want to do? But I think in the interim, I think a rule board with the rules posted is a good place to start, because you've never done anything like this, right?
Yeah, first time.
And let's say it just becomes really bad and it's too expensive and bad things.
Then council
We
can
just
say,
strike this down and they
Yeah,
remove the
then
board. and
council
it's
can
done.
say, no more graffiti painting and Public Works is to paint over it. You'll give direction
Okay.
after a year and
Okay, so that's our trial period, is we can strike it
we're not
down.
gonna call it a trial period. We're just gonna say council's gonna go visit it after a year to observe the artwork.
We're gonna allow it to happen,
Keep an
and if
eye
it
on
turns
it.
into a problem,
Yes.
we'll
All right.
bring it back.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question then. Did you put a motion on the floor to adopt this, right?
Sign up, yep.
Yeah, okay, all those in favor? And that is carried. Yeah. All right. 8.7, that council adopts the annual report as presented. Can I get a seconder? Are we not at 8.7? Okay, can I get a seconder? Oh, nobody wants to, it's one of these things.
Okay, we're gonna have to table it because this is a requirement by the government.
Yeah,
And is it required by?
It was required about 2 weeks ago.
okay. So, I'm then
There's no
going
deadline for this one.
to make the motion that we table this to the next council meeting. Can I
I
get
would
a
just like everyone here.
Yeah, nope, that's fine. Can I get a seconder on tabling it then? Councillor Rabel, any discussion on tabling it? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, 8.8.
The council receives the report from NWWC and MODI.
North Winds Wellness Center.
Yeah, so essentially it receives a report and advises administration what they would like to do, and if they would like North Winds and MODI to attend this delegation.
Seconded by Councillor Wall. Advisement if they would like, oh, okay. Councillor Wall?
Personally, I find the report a little bit counterintuitive there. It says that it's going to be so much traffic that we need to install turn lanes on the highway and a separate entrance and all of that, but so little traffic that it's okay going through a laneway and a residential street. So I would like to hear how they can explain that.
I think at this point in time, it's sort of a, we don't really know what it's gonna look like. I wouldn't be surprised if a traffic study is done within a year, I'm gonna be honest. But that's something that currently, it's difficult to say how much it's gonna be. So like, perfect example, the Northwinds Wellness Center right now that's out in Farmington, they have a white van, and so they often are invited to the Pouce Coupe Community Church. They come into the community once a month, we serve them lunch and have tea and coffee with them, and they all come in one van. And then they're all vanned back out in the one van. And then really the only back and forth is staff. There's not a ton, and so I think right now they're gonna have a hard time because this is a much larger facility that encompasses more long-term care because it's a 3-year plan. That's where it's going to get difficult. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a traffic study, and I think council would be within its right a year after it does open to sort of maybe request to have a review of that done between Northwoods Wellness Center and Modi. Councilor Rowell.
Just to clarify, the current concept is an emergency only exit lane off the highway, and then the regular traffic, whatnot, for in and out and visitors and whatnot to be on that residential road?
Yes. Yeah. They're gonna use the emergency for, fire department or ambulances, and then the main running of the community will be traffic on the residential road. Councilor Rowell?
It's kind of a tricky pickle because essentially the construction of this facility will have impacts on the neighboring area. And if we have these folks as a delegation, they will explain their side of things, but where does that move this forward? Because, these are people with the ministry and it's Northwinds. I'm wondering what would be the results of such a delegation? Like, what would be the benefit? Would it reassure folks, or would it cause more uncertainty for folks?
Yeah, and so that's why I was sort of thinking, like, it's probably one of those things where we're gonna have to see when it's like in that first year. I think right now we're all trying to look into the crystal ball of the impacts on traffic and those things, where I think a year of it running, we'll have a much better idea of what the scope is going to be, and then we'll know what we're looking for. If that makes sense. You just spoke, so I'm going to go to Councillor Wall and then to you, Councillor Rowell. Councillor Wall.
Personally, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm speaking for myself. I would much rather see the entrance be off the highway. Just because that road, 51 Ave there's already a very dangerous intersection where people whip off the highway and they go through the industrial zone. And I would like to see what the logic is behind not putting it on the highway.
I know their biggest concern, especially Modi's, is that currently on the hill, what we often have is trucks while they're trying to go up, they burn out or they break out, or I can't remember what the technical term is, and so the trucks get stuck on the hill.
Spin out.
They spin out, thank you. They spin out during the winter months and they get stuck. And so that's when we see traffic jams and things going on, and they have to get the vehicles up and running to get traction again, and it creates a bunch of chaos. We had that happen a bunch of times this winter because of the constant freezing and thawing. And so I think Modi's concern is because there's currently no turning lane and having people turning in front, it could create more of that spinning out issue where we're going to see more backlog from trucks having to slow down because now somebody's turning in front of them and now they're spinning out and they're getting stuck on the hill. That's the concern with putting it there. That's going to create more spin out issues for large trucks.
The other thing essentially is, from my understanding, because it's a provincial highway, it's Modi. If they say it's purely for emergency after various assessments, we're kind of stuck. And I don't know if there's, because of the slope, if there's the right positioning for an intersection. I understand the concern of it is in a residential area. Yeah. It's only a block off the highway. They do have to snake around. I wonder what it looked like in the past when there was a hospital, and then when the Peace Haven was there originally. There was probably deliveries and traffic and all kinds there before.
And they never came off the highway, they came through the residential
area. And so with that, there was already an existing healthcare facility there. And I understand there will be a change. It's quite quiet, you know. I've walked there quite a few times, and it is very, very quiet over there. And I understand it. You know, any change is a change, and some will like it, some will not. I understand that. I think that we should, given the opportunity to have these folks as a delegation, I don't see why not. Like, we should hear from them. We should hear from Northwinds with updates. We should hear from Modi with updates. This does affect the citizens of this village, and I think that if we can have them as a delegation, I am in favor of that. And I'd like to make a note here. I've done some soul searching about this project, and originally I was thinking, goodness, this will have a lot of tremendous negative impacts on the community, and I've listened to folks about those negative impacts. But in the meantime, since that, over the last year and two, I have seen people perish. I've seen people cause injury to themselves and to others. I have seen some unfortunate and horrific things caused by addiction. And as much as I'd love it if there wasn't crime, we didn't need to have prisons. I'd love it if there wasn't illness, we didn't need to have hospitals. But unfortunately, there is a serious situation going on here that is actually destroying people's lives. As much as I wish nobody got cancer and died, there still needs to be doctors who deal with that. And so I think we do have an opportunity to help a lot of people. But then the question is what impacts are on the community. And it's so new. It's, you know, we've seen other care facilities or other addictions treatment centers in other communities, and it is complicated. So anyways, I don't know. It's still kind of a discussion. Clarify though, I obviously want to limit harm to the community, but I also want to see treatment for those individuals who deal with addiction. So it's kind of a tough line to walk, right?
So it's really up to council if you would like the Northwinds Wellness Center to come in and do a delegation. I guess my question to you would be, do you want them to do a delegation on the roadway, or are you looking to do a delegation on the ARC project, which is what that is, what the Northwinds Wellness Center is? Like what are you specifically looking for? This is talking about doing a delegation on the Modi stuff, but if you're looking to bring more information to the public so that they're more aware of what's going on and the positive impact that this can have, then that's a completely different delegation. Yes, Ms. Stokes.
So this was a result of a request from Councillor Wall asking for delegation from Modi and Northwinds Wellness Center about the roadway. When I sent the invitation out to them, they wrote back and asked what it is you were wanting to address, and this was the information they gave me. So if you still want them to come, I'm more than pleased to say, no, council still wishes for you guys to come for more clarification.
Council.
Does that property extend to the driveway on the south side?
I believe.
Yes.
Don't quote me on that, I have to check.
Yeah, I know. Don't quote us on that, but
I
I
go
think
all the way to the fence.
yeah.
I'm concerned. My concern is that's going to be a very large facility, and it's great that we're getting it. It's going to be a very big facility. There's going to be a lot of construction vehicles for quite a while coming in and out of there on our residential road infrastructure,
I see what you're
our
saying.
culverts.
Graders and, I mean, not like them backhoes and stuff going in.
Yeah, going down a laneway, because it's not even a road, down that steep hill, where there's kids on that road, there's things like that, where is, my mindset on this is, what can we do to limit the strain on our infrastructure and public safety during that construction phase, and going forward, if phase 1 is not so big, but phase 2 and phase 3, we can see a building similar to the size of the current hospital.
It's not quite that big.
No, it's not that big.
Phase 3.
No.
We have the drawings.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
It's not quite that big. It is big, but it's not quite, it's not.
quite that big.
No,
The
it's,
drawings make it look real big.
yes, the drawing, the
It's
footprint,
like 3.
the footprint to my understanding is it's sitting exactly where the hospital was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever saw the
Oh, yeah.
hospital site before you got here, but there was the
That happened like a week after we moved in.
It kind of went like that.
Yeah.
Right? And the footprint is that it's sitting kind of on the same area.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it's only 2 stories high.
Well, that's it, too.
I can show you the drawing. We have the blueprints.
Councillor Rabble?
Essentially, if Modi is willing to come in and give us kind of context to the highway usage and intersection and traffic planning, that'd be wonderful as a delegation. And then also a separate delegation from Northwinds regarding the project update and the procedures they're putting into place and all the different planning they've got. I think a project update from Northwinds and essentially insight into the planning and concept for the highway from Modi would be wonderful. So I see 2 delegations from this, from separate entities on kind of separate subjects.
Okay, Councillor Wall?
Also, an ulterior motive of mine to get Modi in here. I do want to know about that. I think it is a concern of mine. I want to know about our crosswalks that it's been 2 years now and they still haven't gotten back.
Oh, no, they've got back, the answer's always no, because they do the traffic study when it's -40 on, like, a random
Improved
weekday.
Crosswalks?
Yeah, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, yeah.
Okay.
So you would like to see a delegation from Modi, and then you would like to see a project update from Northwind. All right, so those are both 2 separate motions. So hit the floor, gentlemen.
I would like to see I make a motion to have Modi come in as delegation regarding the Northwind site access and pedestrian safety through the village.
I second that.
Seconded by Councillor Rabble. Any discussion regarding the motion on the floor? All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, next.
I make the motion that Northwinds Wellness Center have a delegation to Pouce Council regarding a project update and the essentially safety measures in place for the facility.
I second that. I'd love to see Isaac. Wonderful man. Okay, all right. Any discussion regarding that? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Wonderful. All right, moving on to correspondence. Okay, the only one I want to talk on is 9.3. Does anybody want to talk on 9.2 or 9.1?
Good.
Okay, so I make the motion that we accept 9.1 and 9.2 as information. Seconded by Councillor Walt. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. 9.
Discussion on the discussion?
Yeah.
No, not really, because I'm throwing the motion onto correspondence. Okay. 9.3, the council received a letter from the PRRD as information regarding the next generation 911 EPC meeting. Seconded by Councillor Rebel. Thank you. My question, Ms. Stokes, is directly to you. Is this something our fire chief already attends or will be attending? And if not, should we be sending him?
This is an invitation for council.
Okay.
Totally separate from staff.
Totally separate from staff.
Yes, staff, we have our own meetings regarding this. We're working on this as we speak. So
Okay.
this is an invitation for council.
Second question. Seeing as Councillor Woodall is our liaison to the fire department, I think that he would probably be the best pick to attend this, just because between his history with search and rescue services in the area, his history with the RCMP, as well as him being the liaison for the fire department, I think that Councillor Woodall would be a phenomenal choice.
Safety guy.
Well,
I also agree with that. However, the point of contact is.
it's who?
She's
She's
not running it.
No, she doesn't run it. So she works for the PRRD, but this is being ran by multiple, there you go, Ms. Stokes, I've got one.
So Next Gen has nothing to do really with PRRD. It's not directed by PRRD. Next Gen is a government-funded
Provincial.
program for our new 911 system that's coming in. We're currently working with the province to streamline housing numbers and roads so that the 911 system can find everybody. Because right now in areas like Pouce Coupe, some streets have 2, possibly 3 names.
Which one's that?
Oh, quite a few.
There's quite a few.
Should we name them instead of number them?
Not tonight.
You're not helping, but anyway, we have a grant to do this
We've been given a grant from the government to implement all this. We have an administrative assistant who is very, very passionate about this, and she has been working diligently for the last, I'm gonna say 2 years on our mapping system. So, but this particular invitation was sent out to mayors and councils so that you can be brought up to speed on what is going to be happening. The contact person here is just the organizer of the event. That's all.
Oh, okay.
She's not.
I was gonna say, you probably already know.
No. She's the assistant.
Councilor Rebel?
So essentially then, the PRD is saying, hey, we've got monthly virtual meetings and supplementary quarterly in-person meetings. Then should we create a new portfolio or liaison role and then essentially put that towards the person who's already involved in safety? Is that how we want to approach it, where it's another portfolio role?
I wouldn't put it technically as another portfolio role, just because Councillor Woodall is already my alternate on the PRRD. So really, it's something that I
It's a
think.
piece of it.
Yeah, I think we could just, I don't know, could we just like assign it to him or ask him or I don't know.
Can more than one of us go to this thing?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You can all go.
Yeah.
Because I would like to go to this thing.
So staff is already involved in this,
Yeah.
so you know, on a different level.
Yeah.
This is
So-
for your information.
Yeah, so really, if we could send the information about the monthly meetings directed to Councilor Whittle for sure, and then Councilor Wall or any other councilor who would like to.
Is this like a workshop?
So it's, if you look at the very bottom line, it says, in an effort to strengthen communications and relationships, the PRD would like to extend an invitation to your community's emergency program coordinator to participate in monthly virtual meetings supplemented by quarterly in-person meetings. This platform is an ongoing opportunity to engage with communities and explore ways in which the PRD can offer support. So it just basically, it's like an information session, how we're all gonna be working together as this next gen system gets rolled out.
And the fire chief is part of that
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, so that's why it makes sense to send Councilor Wood, but you're more than welcome to.
I could just pop in at one of them.
Totally. It could be like a weird rando, just.
We would send your contact information as an interested party, and then as things come out, she would send out the emails.
Yeah. Councilor Rowell?
I think, yes, we should have a person that's dedicated to go to all these things, like a liaison role. I believe we should actually create a liaison role for it, and then having other members as they wish to come attend. But I know that, I don't know if the PRD would be, kind of hesitant of a person attending. I know in the past that without having the endorsement of council, it delayed my liaising with other portfolios previously. So I just want to, keep everything clear as to what the assigned roles are. My suggestion then would be to offer this opportunity to Councillor Woodall and see what his response is, and then confirm it at the next available council meeting.
That work for you, Ms. Stokes? Let's just
Sure.
give him his number and be like, here you go.
Okay, cool. Sounds like we're on board.
Okay, do you need a motion or anything for that, Ms. Stokes?
What if I just reach out to Councillor Whittle and see if he's interested and bring back the information?
Ah, that'd be perfect. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Okay, that was the only one I wanted to talk on. Anybody else? Which ones do you want to talk on? None?
Gold panning sounds fun, but we're low on time.
I know. Do you guys want to go? I can't go.
Which one, sorry?
Gold panning.
Oh, very cute.
Motion to accept all the remainder is.
Well,
Which one would you like to do?
9.7, we should probably figure out what we want to do with UBCM.
Okay, so 9.7. So I put the motion on the floor that we accept. Ms. Stokes?
Yes and no, but you have two members who have expressed interest in attending UBCM,
And you're not here.
and they're not here.
Yes. So, hang on.
Let's
Hold on.
receive.
So I'm gonna, I make the motion that we receive items 9.4 to 9.6 as information. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? And I make the motion that we bring 9.7 back to the next council meeting when all members are available.
So you won't get the early bird rate.
Oh!
This is what I was about to ask.
Okay, hang on. We're at 9.7. That council received the UBCM registration rates as information. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall for discussion, for information, just whatever. Ms. Stokes?
May I make a suggestion. You've passed the policy already, so if council's okay, can I get a vote via email from, or get a feel for who wants to go? Because they did both express an interest during
Oh, we can
budgeting
all go.
season that they, well, exactly, but I'll send an email out saying who wants to go. You all say yay or nay, and then I'll proceed to do the registration so that we can get it done before August 1st.
Yeah, and so my understanding, Ms. Stokes, is that actually wouldn't require a vote via email because we've already equipped the policy saying it's a mayor and four. So I would just reach out to everybody via email, finding out who would like to attend, and then
Exactly,
you can.
but I need
Yeah.
to know yes or no if you're gonna
Yeah.
attend, so I can register you.
Yeah. So it's not technically a vote, it's just a who can make it and can't. Councillor Rowell? Yeah.
Subject to the approval of my employer, I would absolutely love to attend 2024's UBCM.
Okay.
When will you know if you're approved?
I'll communicate that as soon as I know. Yeah,
So the last day for the early bird is August 1st.
okay.
So
So
if I
as soon
can
as
get it, I'm on holidays next week, so the first thing I do when I come back on the 29th will be to check my email to see who is
I'm going for sure.
going. Okay, you're going
So responses would be due by July 29th then?
at the latest.
At the
That way,
latest.
so I can get them done that
Okay.
day when I get back.
I wanna go.
Okay.
You good to go? Okay.
Okay, so I will,
2 yeses for sure.
I have to vote on the motion I wrote.
The resolution.
It says it is the first, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. So all those in favor of receiving for information? That's carried. Okay. And then 9.8, that council received the invitation to the goaltending championship as information. Seconder, Councilor Howell. You sure you don't want to go? I can't make it.
There are gold in them there,
I
Hills.
know they're gold in them hands.
All right.
If anybody would like to go, feel free. Yeah, I don't know. I
Pretty
can't.
cool.
I've got plans.
Be a goaltending champion.
I know. I would kick butt at this actually. All right. All those in favor to receive for information? And carried. Thank you. Moving on to action items. Oh no, 10.1 CAO report. I almost skipped right over you. No time.
I had things to tell you and I can't remember. Oh, no. Okay, first of all, I'm on holidays next week. I won't be here. Trina will be your contact. I'm still available by phone. I'm just going to play at West Edmonton. West Edmonton Mall. 2, I have prospectively hired a new economic development officer. I cannot release his name yet because the person has not signed the contract. We're still talking back and forth, but I should have an announcement for you at the beginning of August. And the proposed start date is August 1st. Yay! For a year. Okay? Anything else? I don't think so. It's been quiet. We've been trying to clean up everything since budget season and get, as you see, policies and things done for you here. And I've been working with the recruiter back and forth to get things ready for your meetings. And other than that, keep them busy doing everything else in the office.
Sounds good. I'm very excited to hear who our new ECDEV is when the time comes. Councilor Rowell?
I want to thank you and staff for putting together a wonderful Canada Day. And I want to thank all the community partners and all the folks that really helped with Canada Day. It was lovely to see everyone out there.
It was a wonderful day.
Oh, and just so you know, if you have friends and family who were so fascinated by those plastic straws.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I had so many people ask about those. You're ordering
so
more, right?
one of our swag gifts was a reusable straw. And it comes in a little case, it comes with a little cleaner, and we only had so many of them, and they all disappeared.
Oh. Oh.
It's a build your own straw.
Like travel straw.
It looks like what people do drugs with.
Okay,
Goodness
that's not.
gracious.
Anyway, I was just gonna let you know that we have ordered more. They're on their way. They will be here for swag for you to hand out.
Wonderful. I had so many people wanting these.
You have no idea how many people came into the office on Tuesday
That's so funny.
saying, can
I
we
want
get one of
some.
those straws? Can
Yeah.
we get, I don't care if I have to pay, but I want one of those straws.
Everybody
So
wants
we've
one.
ordered some more so that we have them here for
They
spring.
were a huge hit.
Are the dishwashers safe?
They're like everything safe. They got like a little.
I don't know if I would be
I
careful.
would put them in your
Right
dishwasher.
now,
I just wash mine in the sink after
Yeah.
I use it.
Hand wash.
You might have a
When I was
A
straw
fire.
when it comes out of the dishwasher.
So Miss Stokes
A
gave
silly
this to me
straw.
before FCM. You wouldn't believe the amount of people at FCM that tried to steal my straw. And I was like, you have to come to Pooh Scoop, it's the only way you can get
There
one.
we go.
Yeah, they're a hit. Yeah. Okay, perfect, thank you, Ms. Stokes, it's wonderful. All right, moving on to action items, anybody see anything on there? We've checked a few things out there this evening. Whoop, whoop.
It's summertime.
It is. Tis summer.
Okay.
Nothing? Okay, moving on to capital and special projects. I was going through there the other night and I was like, this list seems so small, and then I remember we're spending over $2 million on the lagoon and I shut up.
Yeah, the water's quite-
We're a bit busy.
We have a meeting with the contractor on the 29th of August for the initial,
Overview kind of deal?
yeah,
Yeah,
site visit
okay.
and stuff with them.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Old library floor, that's good stuff.
Yeah, fixed, and it doesn't smell musty in there anymore.
Can you jump on it? Does it
Yes,
move?
it doesn't move, it's great, I could dance and everything. Yeah, and it doesn't smell musty, it used to smell very, very musty.
Yeah, no, they took everything out.
Yeah, it's lighter.
And they've got the new command track and it's
Mhm.
here on site kind of
No,
situation?
command truck's not here yet.
It's
It's
ordered
still
or
being
something?
outfitted. No, we have the truck,
Okay.
but it's in Fort St. John getting outfitted with all
All
the
the lights
lights
and
and decos. They're hoping the end of the month.
I do.
He's hoping to have it for the fall fair.
Ooh.
On that note, fall fair.
All fair.
Fall fair. Does council wish to attend the fall fair with the float? Because if you do, we will keep it together. If
Yes.
not, they will dismantle it.
I've already confirmed I'm walking with the museum.
Okay.
I've already spoken with the museum, I think they've extended an invitation to me as well.
Okay, and I don't know about these two. I'll go wherever people want me to go. I can go with the museum, I can
I just
go-
need to know for Public Works if they can dismantle the trailer or not.
Can you put that in an email to, Councilor Johnston, Councilor Whittle, and myself? And if the three of us can organize to walk with our float, I'm more than happy to.
Also on that note, sorry, emails. Have you got your emails working yet? Have you contacted Nortec?
I will contact
Yes,
Nortec.
They're phenomenal, they can fix it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
It has to do with the migration of the new Office 365.
Yeah,
It messed with everything.
Everything.
You have no idea. Our printers, our scanners,
Yeah.
but I need to make sure that you're getting your emails.
Yeah.
You're getting yours now?
Well, I was confused because I was still getting like the spam updates, or like this, like
yeah.
I was still getting emails,
Quarantine
I just
stuff.
wasn't getting
All of
your
them.
emails, I guess, because after I called them, the only thing I got was the agenda, so I'm like, okay. I got it twice though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Currently I'm getting nothing,
Glad.
so.
That's all I've sent out.
5 minutes, they can do it so fast.
But I access the agenda online anyways, which is
That's
nice.
good.
So we've
But
got a navigable
It doesn't make it
website.
easy for me to get communication.
No, yeah, I'll fix it.
It's hard to know you're not getting something when you're not getting it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Well,
well, it's
and it
easy
didn't-
breezy.
It didn't dawn on me till we came in on the Monday and they did it and we were all sitting there going, it's very quiet, quiet. And then we realized we weren't getting our emails. And then it didn't click that you guys weren't getting your emails on your phone till Councilor Woodell reached out and said, I'm not getting my emails, what's going on? And he called them and he said it was fixed right away. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up the.
Alrighty, let's move on to council calendars. So when is the parade in August? It's August what?
Or no,
No, it's August 9th.
August 9th.
Yeah.
Can we, include that in the calendar here? Please?
Yeah, you'll get it on the 17th.
Okay,
After
that'd
the
be kind of pointless, but I
Oh,
guess.
21st, I mean.
It'll show what we've done.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay,
I didn't know at that time, so.
yeah, no, and then, if the other two can walk with our Housekeeping float, the only one I'm not sure about is, Councilor Whittle. I'm not sure if he's doing search and rescue again, because he likes to alternate year over year, so. But I wouldn't be surprised if me and Councilor Johnston can do it, and then we'll just have to beg Katrina some children again.
I don't think you're here. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna move on to reports, so Councilor Johnston is away with notice. Councillor Rabble, report. I love how you've typed it up. Good for you. I love that. That's
Just took 2 years.
You're figuring it out. That's
Yeah,
great.
it is.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, I decided to type it out just to put my thoughts. I usually just put it on a piece of paper that it's written on. Anyways, so for the library, some fantastic stuff going on there. All summer long, they've got the summer reading club. Each week, they do a new take-home craft. Every Monday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. is Doodlebug story time. Every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. is free drop-in knitting and crocheting groups. Every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. is drop-in Lego Club. Every Thursday is all day, from my understanding, free drop-in craft day. Every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is free drop-in Play-Doh Club with snacks provided. And they still do have emergency preparedness packages if folks want to pick those up. But even over the summer, our public library folks are putting on some lovely activities for folks. So that's awesome to see. The food bank, I am flabbergasted at the donations that have been received. It is lovely. So a shout out for some recent donations: ARC Resources, EPFC Corp, the PRRD, Lori Adler, Vermilion Energy, Canadian National Railways, Safeway, Canlin Energy, Vulcan Compression, South Peace Bible Missionary Church, Ovintiv, Save on Foods, and Louisiana Pacific. And the Pooskoopi Museum as well. It's amazing. I am beyond impressed at the local folks who have stepped up and donated, local companies and organizations, and then also all the volunteers that work with the food bank to keep it open and to provide some really good governance for it. It's great to see it. It was in a bit of a tough spot, let's say, a bit ago, and now it's
Point of order.
completely shifted around.
Yeah,
Should
point
we
of
pass
order.
9 o'clock?
I second that motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. You may.
All right. So, essentially for the food bank, I'm amazed. It's awesome. It's good news all around. Folks have stepped up. Money's in the pots to help provide people in need. Anyways, school and education. Pooskoopi School is obviously closed for the summer. Reopens, from my understanding, on August 26, 2024. The YMCA Child Care Center at Pooskoopi School is seeking applications for before and after school care, before school care, and after school care. More information can be found online at nbc.ymca.ca. So that's Northern British Columbia, ymca.ca. So it's essentially nbc.ymca.ca. So I want to see that succeed. Last year they didn't have enough applications to pursue. They have a minimum number they require. All the costs, all the applications, the handbook for parents, all that stuff's on their website. It's a very clean, clear website. But I really want to see that succeed. In Dawson, there's not enough childcare spaces. Where here, we've got underutilized childcare spaces. So I really want to see that YMCA program succeed, and I'll do what needs to be done to help with that as much as possible within my abilities. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
Just let you know, we'll add that to the newsletter as well.
awesome. No, yeah.
I think you're going to.
I think they just needed 5 or 10. That's honestly all it was, and I think it's. I don't know. I can't say anything further. So we'll move on. South Peace Health Services Society, they did a lovely delegation. It's good to see them. They did an update for us. Obviously, they talked about the facilities of the Poultry's House, the Locum House, the Carriage House. They're working on all the things they were talking about: strategic governance, marketing. They've just hired a new person to actually deal with daily operations. And that possible healthcare night, that's awesome to see. And then NDIT, which the mayor is kind of the first on that piece, but I do attend as an alternate if possible. It's just grants, opportunities, business amenities, housing, and with the economic development grant, economic development officer, the potential for some upgrading to facilities in the future. So, anywho, that's my report. Just things chugging along, great things in our community. We're just helping as much as we can. Oh, and I obviously attended the end of the day celebrations. I didn't even put that in here. This is just the portfolios.
Thank you. Wonderful. Ms. Stokes, can you include his report in the minutes next meeting? Great. All right, moving on to Councillor Wall.
Well, I'm going to condense mine now. Okay, start with the Legion. The Legion is done doing schnitzel nights till the fall. They're really looking forward to the farmers market. which I believe, the Legion is looking forward to the farmer's market. They told me when, but I forget.
The next one is this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Thank you, Mayor. Senior suppers are the third Friday of the month at Seniors Hall. Those are still going on. Been to a couple museum meetings. They're planning for their fall harvest tea, which is it's looking good. It's going to be at the community center here. They are looking for large items to raffle off and things like that. I think it's going to be a really good event. That is going to be on next meeting, I'll say. On date. And the museum did get a grant from Walmart. So thank you, Walmart Canada, for giving that grant. And I believe it was for $1,000, and they have purchased candy from Walmart.
Yeah.
Yes, to hand out during the Fall Fair Parade and for Halloween.
And they received that summer student grant. Right? I just found out about it last meeting, I think, that they received that summer student grant. Oh man, you're making me sick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they received the summer student grant. Because I remember us being very excited. Maybe double check. No,
They may have gotten a summer student
yeah.
grant.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yeah.
Oh, well, good, because then we can roll it over to next year and, good. Wonderful. I went to Canada Day, fantastic, great fun in the dunk tank. Yes, that's good. I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay, perfect. And Councillor Whittle is away with notice. Mine is quite lengthy because we're going so long between meetings now, so I'm just going to read through it really quick. Ms. Stokes doesn't have to write anything, so I've already sent it to her. So, June 24th, I held the closed special meeting. June 25th, I attended the Indigenous Day celebration held by School District 59. It was an absolute wonderful opportunity to celebrate the traditional local culture and connect with all of our neighbors in Dawson Creek. June 26th, I attended the Pooskibee Elementary School unveiling of the murals as part of the Legacy Project with Duncan from the Art Gallery. A wonderful time. The students were great. They were all very excited. They did a beautiful job. And I would just like to take a moment to thank you so much to Pooskibee Elementary School for their support in this project. And I look forward to seeing it coming for many years. And I also want to say a big shout out to the Art Gallery, who have been phenomenal to work with and so supportive of our community and our school kids. So it was wonderful. June 27th, I met with Larry Neufeld of the Conservative candidates. He actually just wanted to discuss Canada Day. So he's never really taken part, so he ended up joining our parade. So I had a meeting with him about Canada Day and just different things we do in our community. June 30th, I met with staff and decorated the Canada Day float. June 1st was Canada Day. Just saying what Councillor Ravel had said, thank you to staff for such a phenomenal smashing event, as they say. It was not only our office staff that were phenomenal, it was our office staff, our public works, our volunteer fire department, our museum board, and the staff of the museum, the Pooskibee Public Library, the Pooskibee Legion. Our Canada Day was an absolute smash, and it was because of the hard work and the dedication of those individuals and more that we have been able to continue this tradition within the community. So thank you all so much. It was an absolute wonderful day. I heard nothing but positive things, but everybody had great things to say. Best Canada Day ever. So thank you. July 2nd, I connected with the South Peace Community Resource Center regarding seniors aging in place and funding through United Way. I will be meeting with them and the Society for Community Living in August to discuss approaching United Way to add funding. July 3rd, I met with Duncan from the Art Gallery to discuss the finishing touches of the Legacy project and to thank him for all of his help with this project that was an absolute success. July 4th, I met with members of Northern Health to discuss our rural seniors and advocate for the need for more services in Pooskibee. And I will be meeting with them again in August. July 4th, I then held a special meeting that evening. July 5th, I met with members of Legion to check in to see how things are going, and everything's going well now as they have their liquor license extended to their patio, whatever. That's been working out great. They're very happy to have that cemented and finished. So thank you to staff for working with the Pooskibee Legion to get that all solved. July 15th, I met with our fire chief to see how things are going and to check in with our volunteers. They're all doing really, really great. Quite a few of them were not there. They were at family events and camping, which was even better. So I'm glad to see that they're spending time with their loved ones. And then today, I attended the Broadband Internet and Mobility meeting, a committee of the whole meeting with the PRRD, and I, as the chair, held the Healthcare Scholarship meeting with the PRRD. Oh, was that? It was a busy day. That's what I've been doing. Okay. All right. So question period here. Item number 13, in camera as per section 91 of the community charter. 13.1, the council moves to in camera as per section 91. M, a matter that under another enactment is such that the public may be excluded from the meeting. And C, labor relations and other employee relations. Can I get a second? Councillor Wall, thank you. All those in favor? Perfect. Okay.